Perfect. Here's the full cinematic first chapter of your HFY sci-fi story. Chapter 1. The Wake-Up Shock. The first thing Kale Draven registered was the cold. Not the usual chill of the USS Horizon's artificial night cycle, but the raw, biting cold of bare metal against bare skin. He groaned, eyes fluttering open, and froze. She was on top of him. Auburn hair spilled over her shoulders like liquid fire, eyes sharp and calculating. Serafina Vera, the ship's xenobiologist, or so he had been told, was studying him with an intensity that made his pulse spike. Kale scrambled to sit up, but the cabin's containment restraints, barely visible in the dim glow of the control panels, kept his hands lightly pinned. "Relax," Serafina said, her voice calm, almost teasing. "You're not in danger yet." Kale's mind raced. Every instinct screamed danger. Humans were known for adaptability, but waking nude, vulnerable, and trapped was not how he imagined starting his morning. He took a deep breath, forcing his thoughts into tactical alignment. Observation first, reaction second. The cabin was a standard Horizon research module. Sleek metal walls, holographic consoles flickering with data streams, and an overhead sensor lattice that hummed faintly. Alien biosignatures flickered across the display. Zalari monitoring pods were hidden, no doubt recording everything. Kale's eyes narrowed. This isn't random. Someone, something, is watching. Serafina tilted her head, the faintest smile on her lips. Exactly. And the question is, what will you do about it? The absurdity of the situation collided with his training. Instead of panicking, Kale analyzed. Location: containment cabin, small but secure. Alien sensors: non-lethal, observational. Immediate risk: minimal if he remains calm. Opportunity: use their assumption that humans panic under vulnerability. He shifted subtly, leveraging his weight, testing the cabin's restraint. They held, but only loosely. A smirk crept across his face. Humans had an advantage: ingenuity. Predictable patterns were for aliens. "Fine," he said, voice steady. "If this is a test, consider me observing back." Serafina laughed softly, a sound like metal chimes in a storm. "Good. Humans are interesting. Always so unpredictable." Kale's eyes scanned the room, noting the slight irregularity in the panel readings. Zalari observers assumed humans froze under stress. They didn't account for improvisation. He nudged the console with his knee, triggering a small data loop in the sensor array. For a fraction of a second, the alien monitors misread their signals. Serafina leaned closer, whispering, "I'd expected more panic." "Impressive, Lieutenant." Kale caught his breath, realizing he'd just passed the first stage of the test. Without firing a shot, without showing weakness. The aliens outside, he knew, were recording every heartbeat, every micro-expression. "Next," he said, voice low, "they'll see why humans survive where others fail." And for the first time that cycle, the cabin felt warmer. Not because of the heat, but because the terrifying clarity of human capability coursed through him. They could trap humans, manipulate humans, even expose humans to maximum vulnerability, but one thing they could never predict: the human mind refusing to break, refusing to panic, refusing to yield. Kale smiled faintly at Serafina. "Shall we show them, then?" She nodded, eyes gleaming with unspoken agreement. Outside the cabin, hidden sensors blinked. But inside, the humans had already won their first silent victory. Kale's mind raced, every neuron firing like a live wire. He was still naked, still vulnerable, and still very much aware that every micro-expression, every heartbeat, was being recorded by hidden Zalari sensors. But panic had no place here. Humans adapted, and adaptability was lethal. He shifted subtly, testing the cabin restraints again. They were loose enough for leverage. That small detail was all he needed. "Step back," Kale said calmly, though every instinct screamed caution. "I need to think." Serafina complied, moving just enough to give him space, but close enough to maintain her enigmatic presence. She had always carried herself like a predator observing a prey, but now, the prey was anything but helpless. Kale's eyes darted to the console, noting the holographic interface. A tangle of biosignature data, sensor arrays, and ship diagnostic. The Zalari monitoring pods were integrated into the cabin itself, feeding data continuously to some alien oversight system. He had seconds, maybe a minute, before the aliens noticed his interference. He flexed his hands, memorizing the angles of restraint hooks, the positions of panels, the possible escape path. Then he acted. A swift knee nudge to the console triggered a minor sensor overload, a trick he had learned during reconnaissance training. Alien monitors blinked, recalculating human vitals, interpreting the slight movement as anxiety rather than tactical interference. Serafina's eyes widened slightly, not in alarm but in impressed acknowledgement. "Clever," she murmured. "Most humans would have panicked or argued." Kale grinned, despite the situation. "I'm not most humans." He rolled off the floor with a fluid motion, using his weight to loosen one of the restraint hooks. Every movement was calculated, precise. This was more than survival, it was demonstration. Humans were adaptive, resourceful, and utterly unpredictable when under pressure. With the restraints temporarily disabled, Kale moved to the cabin's side panel. A subtle tap here, a slide there, and he opened a maintenance access panel. Inside, wiring, minor life support conduits, and, most importantly, the hidden Zalari sensor node. He disconnected it quietly, rerouting its data stream into a loop that simulated normal cabin activity. The aliens would still see life signs, still see activity, but nothing meaningful. Serafina leaned over, voice low and admiring. "Impressive. You just fooled them, and without breaking a sweat." Kale smirked, flexing his fingers. "Humans don't break. We improvise. We adapt. And when everyone else hesitates, we act." Her eyes met his. "They're going to remember this. And they're going to fear it," Kale added, scanning the cabin one last time for overlooked sensors. "We just reminded them why humans survive where others fail. Strength, speed, intuition, and a little cunning." Serafina chuckled, a soft, genuine sound. "It's rare to see a human think so clearly under unusual circumstances." Kale shrugged, finally allowing a moment of humor. "Unusual circumstances are kind of our specialty." The cabin, once a place of vulnerability and shock, now felt like a proving ground. Every alien monitor outside was documenting the same lesson. Humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and incredibly difficult to manipulate. Kale took a deep breath, already planning the next step. The artifact they had come to secure wasn't going to wait. And neither would the humans who had mastered the first, awkward test of their mettle. "Let's move," he said. Serafina nodded, and together they stepped into the corridor, ready to show the galaxy exactly why humans were never to be underestimated. Outside the cabin, the Zalari monitoring array hummed softly, invisible to human eyes. Hundreds of slender, insectoid limbs manipulated delicate instruments, while clusters of multifaceted eyes scanned streams of biodata. Every flicker of Kale Draven's pulse, every micro-expression on Serafina Vera's face, was being recorded, analyzed, and catalogued. And yet, for all their precision, the aliens were confused. Why were humans so unpredictable? One analyst wondered, antennae twitching nervously. Why did they not freeze? Why did they not panic under extreme vulnerability? In the simulation, every other species had failed. They panicked, froze, or made predictable mistakes. Humans, however, did something different. They adapted. They improvised in real time, rewrote the rules without hesitation, and remained calm even in the face of deliberate disorientation. The data streams lit up in chaotic patterns, something the Zalari interpreters were not equipped to handle. Kale had rerouted a sensor feed, a move no other species could have anticipated. They were impressed and unnerved. Back in the corridor of the USS Horizon, Kale moved with purpose. Every step was measured, every glance deliberate. He and Seraphina communicated in silent cues, a raised eyebrow, a subtle hand gesture, and their synchronization was flawless. "This is fascinating," Seraphina whispered. "They think they're observing us. But in reality, we're the ones learning about them." Kale's eyes scanned the area. "And proving a point. Humans survive. Humans adapt. And humans win when others fail to predict them." In a hidden observation chamber, an Zalari council debated. Their voices were a series of clicks and hums, incomprehensible but charged with tension. "They underestimated the human mind," one said. "Their reaction patterns, they do not conform to any known algorithm. They are dangerous." "Dangerous?" Another hissed, antennae quivering. "They are untrained, unarmored, and yet they control the environment around them. Every choice is calculated, yet unpredictable. How can we model such behavior?" Kale and Seraphina reached the cargo bay containing the alien artifact. The faint hum of the device resonated through the floor. It was a relic of immense power, capable of warping consciousness itself. The aliens had assumed humans would hesitate, but the humans did not hesitate. They assessed, improvised, and acted. Kale placed a hand on the artifact, eyes narrowing. "This is ours," he said simply. "Because we do what no one else can." Seraphina smiled, just faintly, the kind of smile that acknowledged both danger and triumph. "It's more than skill. It's human instinct. The galaxy doesn't understand it yet, but it will." From the shadows of the observation chamber, Zalari analysts recorded every movement. Their conclusions were forming, begrudgingly. Humans were unlike any species they had encountered. Not faster, not stronger, not telepathic, but adaptable beyond comprehension. Unpredictable in ways that no algorithm could anticipate. Kale glanced at Seraphina. "Lesson 1 complete," he said quietly. "We're human. We don't break. We outthink." She nodded. "And that makes us dangerous in the best possible way." Outside, the stars of Andromeda stretched endlessly, indifferent to the small ship and its crew. But inside, one truth had been proven: wherever humans went, they changed the rules. And the galaxy, for the first time, was taking notice. The cargo bay hummed with quiet menace. The alien artifact sat atop a reinforced pedestal, its surface shifting like liquid metal, resonating with an energy that made the hair on Kale's arms stand on end. Any misstep could trigger its defenses, or worse, alert the Zalari monitoring arrays. Kale exchanged a glance with Seraphina. No words were needed. Humans had a shared instinct for improvisation under pressure, a silent code honed over millennia of survival. "All right," Kale whispered, circling the pedestal. "We need to isolate it from their sensors before we even touch it. Otherwise, they'll know exactly what we're doing." Seraphina nodded, producing a small, sleek device from her pocket. "I designed this for them," she said, voice low and controlled. "It loops energy signatures for exactly 90 seconds. That's our window." Kale's grin was a flash of human audacity. 90 seconds to outsmart an entire species. Typical Tuesday. He activated a nearby panel, creating a subtle magnetic disruption that, combined with Seraphina's device, caused the alien arrays to read normal cabin activity while the humans moved freely. Outside, the Zalari analysts saw nothing. Humans were behaving exactly as expected. Predictable. Ordinary. Inside, Kale and Seraphina moved with purpose. He examined the artifact, noting faint glyphs and energy pulses. "It reacts to conscious thought patterns," he muttered. "If we aren't careful." Seraphina placed her hand next to his on the artifact. "We are careful," she said. "But humans, we also improvise." Kale smiled. With a single coordinated push, they engaged the artifact's interface, translating its alien energy into a form humans could understand. The pedestal vibrated violently, lights flickering, but the humans held steady. Adaptation, intuition, and improvisation were their weapons. Suddenly, an alarm blared, not the artifact, but a hidden Zalari override attempting to regain control. Kale ducked, thinking faster than any algorithm could predict. He jammed the override with a pulse from his wrist device, rerouting it into harmless feedback loop. Serafina laughed softly. "You're like a human problem-solving virus," she said. "And humans never lose," Kale replied, eyes locked on the artifact. With one final adjustment, they stabilized its energy, rendering it safe for transport. The Zalari observers outside, monitoring every heartbeat, every reaction, froze. Their simulations had failed. Their predictive models collapsed. Humans, unarmored and unenhanced, had manipulated the artifact with a combination of instinct, logic, and sheer audacity. Kale straightened, breathing evenly. "Lesson 2, he said, voice low but firm. "Humans don't just survive. We excel where others fail." Serafina smirked, tucking the artifact into a containment field. "And the galaxy thought we were predictable." Kale glanced at her, the tension of the previous night, waking Nude, vulnerable, disoriented, now a distant memory. "They're going to rethink that," he said. "And not just them. Everyone watching." The corridor outside was silent, but the humans moving through it were anything but ordinary. Every step was a statement, unpredictable, decisive, and entirely human. And for the Zalari, it was a revelation. They had underestimated the one species that could never be fully understood. The USS Horizon drifted quietly through Andromeda's outer rim, its hull gleaming faintly under distant starlight. Inside, Kale Draven and Serafina Vera secured the alien artifact in the containment bay. It pulsed faintly, a reminder of its immense power, but under human hands it was now safe. The Zalari observers, still hidden in their remote monitoring pods, processed the events of the last few hours. For the first time in recorded history, their species faced the undeniable truth. Humans were unlike any other in the galaxy. Not the fastest, not the strongest, not telepathic, but adaptive, inventive, and utterly unpredictable. One Zalari analyst clicked nervously, antennae twitching. "We miscalculated. Humans cannot be contained by simulation, stress, or threat. Their behavior defies expectation." Another added, a low hum of acknowledgement. "They survived vulnerability. They neutralized the artifact. They outmaneuvered our observation. They are exceptional." Back on the horizon, Kale leaned against the console, letting out a long breath. Serafina approached, her expression a mixture of respect and amusement. "You made that look easy," she said. Kale smirked. "Humans don't make excuses. We solve problems. And sometimes we do it naked, disoriented, and under surveillance." Serafina chuckled, shaking her head. "If the galaxy is watching, they just got a very clear message." Kale's eyes scanned the stars outside the viewport. "That humans survive. Humans adapt. Humans win where others fail. The rest of the galaxy may never understand us, but they'll have to respect us." In the quiet hum of the ship, the artifact safely contained, there was a shared understanding. Human ingenuity was a force that could not be predicted, contained, or underestimated. Every challenge, every trap, every moment of vulnerability had become a testament to human resilience. Serafina finally smiled fully, the tension of the past night replaced by camaraderie. "We're dangerous," she said softly. Kale nodded, his grin wry but confident. "The galaxy isn't ready for humans. And that's exactly how we like it." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, indifferent to the small ship gliding silently among them. But inside the USS Horizon, one truth shone brighter than any star. Humans were extraordinary, unstoppable, and unforgettable. And as the ship slipped into faster-than-light travel, the Zalari recorded a final, reluctant conclusion: never underestimate a human.